Hello, it's Isaacs, and welcome back to another Devlog showcase. This time I'm going to be showing off another one of my independent projects. This should be the third upload out of the 3 devlogs I've posted so far. Kind of ironically, this is the first of those 3 projects I actually worked on, so I kind of went in reverse order. But this one is going to be a little different from the others because this work I'm going to be showing off is a lot more complicated than the other 2. Whereas I'm going to be just kind of showing off how the game works and some of my thought processes behind it, instead of detailing how the full game works, because as you can kind of see here, there is a lot of function into this game that it's been like over a year since I originally made this, and I didn't make this from scratch either, so I don't feel like I can do justice the explaining the intricacies of this game systems, because I just personally don't know or completely understand them anymore, and to do so I feel like I'd have to take a couple days to really understand myself how the game really functions. So, you know, kind of counterintuitive trying to showcase the game and explain to you. I don't really know how it works anymore, but it's still something I worked really hard on, you know, like over a year ago, that I still want to show off, so I will be doing that now. I'm still going to explain how some of it works and like show you the code and stuff, but I will be not going to as much depth as I have tried to on my other devlogs. So, first things first, I want to preface that, like I did mention previously, I did not make this game from scratch. The other 2 devlogs I've showed games I made all by myself. This one I didn't. This is a remix of a Zenva project. Might have heard of Zenva before, just like a game development help website that has a bunch of like videos and walkthroughs on making like some games and stuff. So I tried doing that. This is a remix of one of those. So I made the whole project on there, and I was like, you know what? I want to make this more advanced. So I did. The original project had these assets of like the art assets here. As you can see, I did not make these, and the sounds as well, which I have muted, but the art assets and stuff like that, and a lot of the systems, well, few of the systems now, are from that Zenva project, which is originally just a 1v1 micro-turn-based RPG thing. But now, I made it way more advanced by adding this menu screen, letting you select multiple characters. Originally, there was just a dragon and the boar. Now I added the snake and the reptile. You can choose how many you want to fight, how many there are, updated a bunch of visuals and stuff. So I want to show that off now with the gameplay. So, first things first, Microturnbasedrpg, play. There's a lot of this on the screen right now, but let's just focus on the actual selection points here. Select a player and their opponent characters, so you can choose 1, 2, or 3 on either side you want, and it will change based off of how many you have selected. So let's say I just want 2 on each side. I take a dragon and a boar, put a reptile and snake on the enemy side, and then we begin. So as you can see, they have different statistics. They have different amount of health, current max health. You can see the turn order here. So we go the player turn first with the dragon and the boar, and the AI turn with the reptile and the snake. You see, I can hover between each one, and it'll show me which one I'm going to select. Select them, and then choose one of my moves. So I just go for a slash. Boom, pretty quick, but the thing takes damage, tells me what I did, then goes to the boar's turn. Let's say I'm against the snake, I just do a slam. Boom. Then the AI does its turns, so the reptile heals itself, and then the snake attack the boar. Then let me just boom. And as you can see, very simple. Get rid of that guy. Turn order updates here, round 3. And just clean up these enemies. Boom. Winner. Similarly, I can do like a really like unfair fire where I go like 3 dragons and I just do like the weakest one, which is snake. As you can see, I can select go through them, and as the snake has like different moves, it just only has bite and cover, so I try to do that and just squash. That's how the game works, basically. As you can see, pretty simple. As you know, a lot of games kind of like this. It's just like, oh, it's really simple in concept, but how it really works is so much more complicated than just that. So the system itself seems pretty simple, but how everything really goes into making this work smoothly, and it does work really damn smoothly, is cool, and it's also very customizable is what it's made to be like as well. So I'm going to attempt to walk you through how the game functions. First things first, I'm going to bring us through how the game works when you play through it. So, first thing you come to is the, let me pass the start screen, is selecting your player characters or your AI opponents. So, how this works is with the character selection script, which takes from the game characters and the select characters. So through here you can see these preset positions where your player and AI characters go. So your player controlled ones and the AI controlled ones. And then these preset characters here. So these are their own things, and these characters can get slotted into these positions, which you select here. Each has their own sprites, their own health, and their own movesets, as you can see here. So the character select screen basically will go through these two lists here and basically set up signaling to the rest of the game those selected characters. So depending on which character you selected and how many you set to be in the battle, on this selection screen will send that to the rest of the game. So once you select what you want, so let's make it like a 2v2 again. Maybe let's switch this around. We're in the game, and there's a lot going on already. So we start with the boar on their turn, and we have this. You can see we can select between targets and their own stuff, but how does this work? Well, one thing to explain is the characters themselves. As you can see, this is the character node thing, and it's blank because it's customizable. So we have this blank character thing, and then we can customize by putting them into the thing and then filling them out. So if you want to make a dragon, we set how much health they have, how many moves they have, and their sprite. So we have this blank template for a character, which functions has this. So all characters, either controlled by the player or the AI, share these functions. So they can take damage, they can heal, they can be selected. They have their own audio, health, yada yada, facing which direction, their sprites, display texture, icon, descriptions for their moves, all that jazz. So either AI or player, all that stuff gets set up when their turn is there, their sprite gets bigger or not, that has their little like bouncing up and down movements. They can take damage when they're healed, being selected, like I said, and casting their combat actions. Playing audio, all the characters share this stuff, but for the more specific stuff, like their sprite or their combat actions, which are this stuff down here, that is like is set to be customizable. So, when the game started, when you press that start button, first in the game manager, after you select them, those specific, it loops through all of these game characters here. So go through the player characters and the AI characters, and specifically set those to those characters you selected on the screen here. And then it'll cull the, and basically remove from that current game battle. So you see I didn't select the third one on either side, so they get removed from this. Then I didn't in the turn order, you can't select or attack them. So they get removed. And then we set the turn order. Then the turn order and that conversely that UI as well. So to visualize there, we show off that order you can see. So we get the turn of that character. It's currently the boar's turn. They're first in the order, so this is kind of like visualizing that. So we tell this character and we show the player on their UI here. It's their turn, it's the player's turn, show all that stuff, and then show this specific character's turn. So it's on the player, we start with their stuff, we do this UI stuff, and we show, so the boar is the first one that we selected, show what target AI, what AI we can target, be able to select that, and then what combat actions that boar has. So as I showed you, the boar has these combat actions selected. All the combat actions work like this, and we have them here, very customizable. We can have what their name, what the description is kind of like there, how much melee damage they actually do, how much they might heal, and their base weight. The weight, it works with the AI, I'll get to that later. But we show this attached to that, and we actually visualize that there. So if we have stuff for the targets and we have stuff for the actual action buttons. So we'd show the player, and if we select them, if we're hovering over them, we can show what happens, like with this stuff. And if we actually press them, like I have the snake selected and I press slam, boom. A bunch of stuff happens. We tell the game manager that the player just used that combat action, and we cast that action against the current target, which would be the one we selected. And then we do the next turn. As we see here, we just selected the snake, we slammed it, and then we go over to the dragon the next turn for that. And to there, then we update this. So the snake and stuff is still alive, so they're still being shown. I can still select them. And then the dragon is different. So they both the boar and the dragon have a cover and heavy slam, but the boar has a slam, the dragon has a slash. So I want to slash that. And then the AI goes to its turn. They both healed. So after the AI takes its turn, taking another step back, on taking damage, a bunch happens there when something takes damage. We need to update what happens when how many characters are left and stuff like that. We need to update how much health they have left. But when it's an AI's turn, they pick a random target. They target a random player, and then they decide that action. If it's a melee damage one, it does a different thing depending on whether they damage the player or they heal themselves. They decide that action, whether depending on the weight of their own actions and the current player they're attacking. So, for instance, you can see the dragon just got attacked twice here. So both of them randomly selected out of the two, the boar and the dragon, they both randomly got the dragon, and they both attacked them. Now, kind of behind this, the logic behind this is attack weight. So you notice how each action here has a base weight. When the AI chooses a combat action, each of their actions is weighed against each other on a random chance. So they'll weigh each of their actions and select a random one depending on how much weight that action has. So, this is one of the main features of that Zenva tutorial, the action weight that I learned from. Mainly does it not only kind of randomly depending on which cumulative weight they kind of have, but also on depending on how much health the player has. So if out of their enemies attack actions, if the player's health, if of one of the enemies, out of all the enemies' attack actions, if one that does damage will kill the player, that weight gets increased. So it's more likely to take a finishing blow. And depending on how low an enemy's health is, like you saw them both recover that time, depending on how low the AI's health is, will increase the chances it takes a recovery move. So it takes all this stuff, depending on how low the player's health is and how low the own AI's health is, weighs it against each other and chooses one, still randomly, but increases the chances of one move over the other depending on kind of these game states there. So that's ultimately how all that stuff functions. So the player can choose a target here, based on, like, you know, there's a bunch of visual and back-end stuff that goes into, like, the target stuff as well, and, like, the combat actions, and the buttons themselves, like, you can set them. All of these functions are very intertwined. It's a very cool thing about Godot. Learning how this works, this project really helped me learn how Godot works and stuff, with all the signals and crap like that. How much you can intertwine and call upon these methods on each other with these class systems and different scripts calling upon each other, how highly customizable you can make it. Yeah. So I'm trying to say, it's just, I'm trying to, yeah. It's complicated. Oh, I didn't set a character. Like, yeah, there's still some glitches and stuff. Like you can select two characters here, but it starts it anyway. If you don't actually select one. But what you get it? I don't feel like I could really get into each individual system, but there are a lot of systems in this game. There's how the damn moving background works, there's how the turn order functions, there's how the buttons work on the player UI, there's how each combat action works, setting the targets, like, all the target system I did myself. The like action button system is based on the Zenva tutorial, but I used that, inspired off of it, learned myself how to set up selecting different targets, based on that. So, like, having, you know, the, like, war against, like, a, let's say, reptile army here, this whole selecting a different reptile, like, the base Zenva tutorial only had the combat actions in a 1v1. What I added was the whole turn order stuff, because before, in the tutorial, it would only just went back and forth between 1v1. Now I made all of this turn order stuff. I made you being able to select a different enemy, hitting them, and then the AI, you know, the AI mechanic is also part of the base Zenva tutorial, but the player stuff is the way more heavy-handed stuff that I made myself. So, like, the targeting system was something I spent a lot of time on. The turn-based system was something I spent a lot of time on. Actually, you know, that first starting menu, selecting each character, getting that all to work in conjunction with everything else. Like, this whole menu and stuff took a long time as well, which I just really wanted to show off. I'm still kind of sad that I can't really, or I could really go into depth, but I just don't really have the grit in me right now to really explain each and every line of code. But I'm showing it off to you that, because I think the system's really cool. It's kind of complete. It's like mostly complete, and just to be this, you know, mini like battle simulator is cool. But that's mainly this showcase, pretty much. That's just what I wanted to go over. I hope any of that made sense to you. Admittedly, not a lot of it makes complete sense to me, but, like, at least let the gameplay I showed off there speak for itself. And with that, I think that'll conclude this little showcase devlog. Maybe I use the system again in the future. We'll see. I definitely want to do more of this. Yeah, you get it. Bye.